As we get started, the dog wants out.
He's like, I see you're busy.
It always goes.
I see you're busy, please. I'm trying to find us.
And he lost his.
There we are.
He's losing his mind out there in the yard. I'm just closing the.
Okay, good.
Closing the fence so he doesn't get out. Hey everybody, welcome to 2025. I started off the live feed with our dog barking to get outside.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes,
For most people, it
absolutely.
doesn't connect until like 45 seconds or a minute later. So
Yeah, it takes a minute for
they
it
might
to.
not even know that Chewy was barking this whole time.
Oh, they'll know when they rewatch it later on. Our dog. Remember there was a Far Side cartoon where they had like a dog translator in it, and instead of the barking, the dog just said, hey, 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 hey,
Oh.
hey.
Yep.
That's what I feel like Chewy would be saying. Except his eyes speak to me sometimes when they're like, more food for
Yeah, I was
Chewy.
just going to say, give me your food.
Share your kill with me. That's what I
Yeah.
imagine a dog would say if he could talk. Share your kill. Because he thinks we harvested whatever we're eating out in the wild. But hello everybody, and hope you guys all had a fantastic New Year's and a fantastic Christmas or holiday season if you celebrate, or whether you don't, or whether you got different things that you celebrate. I hope it was just good time for the family. That's the one thing that I think all religions have in common, is that there's got to be special times throughout the year where you just spend time with each other and just have good food and celebrate each other. And we had kind of a quieter Christmas, I'd say,
Yeah.
than usual. Normally, who do we have over normally?
Well, we usually have your family and my family and friends. And this year we had...
We had our family,
Yeah.
just our kids.
Yeah.
It was, quiet, but sometimes it's nice. I mean, that's the nice thing about having 3 kids, is that you're never really that alone. You've always got something going on.
Yep.
But my mom had to work on Christmas
But we
Day.
saw her during the day.
Yeah, she came over for lunch. That's true. But my mom works in Canada. It's called CAA, and in the United States, it's AAA. And people get stuck in the snow or have problems with their vehicles all throughout the year. So she was busy working away. Was he wanted already?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
cold out.
Well, I know it's cold. I didn't even hear him bark. Maybe his barker got froze up. It is chilly outside. If you look out our back window.
Well, you can't tell, but it's actually blue sky. But
It's funny how this time of year, that tree in between us kind of starts to look like a feather, that one. It looks like a big feather standing up right in the
birch.
snow. Yeah, it is birch.
it has like these tiny cones on it, though, that make it look like it still has leaves. Definitely does not.
No, but hoping you guys all had a great holiday season. And this year, I'm excited to see what the year will bring. As always, we start off these live feeds, usually the first one of the new year, and we never really know what is going to happen. I wouldn't have known that I would have cleared a comic book collection last year, that we would have, had all this estates, all the storage units that we ended up clearing out. So lots of stuff happened in 2024 that were kind of a surprise. And that's the wonderful thing about doing what I do for work, and Melissa as well, is that you really don't know. Her preschool class changes, so you don't know what kids you're going to have, or how they're going to act, or what it's going to be like. And for me, I don't know where my feet are going to take me come the new year. I used an expression the other day on somebody. I said, I get itchy feet. And I've heard that expression my whole life, but maybe, is it a Ukrainian thing or what? I don't know.
It's a sock thing.
A sock thing? No, like I gotta wash them more. But it's an expression that I was told when I was a kid, that if you get itchy feet, that means you like to travel and like to move and get around. And my mom always said, oh, he's just got itchy feet. He likes to get around. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that before, or if there's other expressions that take its place, but I do like to get out and do things and see new sights. And I'm hoping to do a little bit of travel and a bit of travel with the family this year as well. So we'll see what happens. What do you have planned for this year? What do you got going on?
I don't have a lot going on. I'm looking forward to starting. We get 2 weeks off. I'm not sure if you guys do as well, for the winter break. So I haven't had to go to work for the last 2 weeks. We don't start back until Monday. So I'm looking back to seeing my class again and seeing how they all are, and getting everybody back in the routine, including us. We've had the privilege of sleeping in.
Yeah.
You know that you're starting to get older when New Year's and like all of that takes it out of you. I'm so tired.
Yeah, staying up to midnight is like a chore now.
I'm like, oh, come on, what time? 8:50, come on.
Oh, somebody asked, NXN says, how did you start your channel? Did you just woke up that morning and said, I want to open a channel, or what? No, for those of you, I guess I'll give the recap, because I forget, there's a lot of new people that have joined the channel in the last little while that don't know sort of the backstory on how this all started. But what is it, like 8 years ago now? Have we been on YouTube for 8 years? Maybe somebody
I
can
don't
verify. It's like 7 or 8 years ago. We opened up an antique store. We took some savings that we had, went into a little bit of debt, opened up an antique store.
I don't think Antique Store was 8 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute since we've been online. But I was sitting at work one day, and it was kind of quiet at our old location, and I wanted to advertise it. And 7 or 8 years ago, or 8 or 9, or whatever it's been, it was kind of transitioning from like paper advertisements, where you still get people that would call you up and say like, you should advertise in this, you know, in the yellow pages or whatever, and kind of moving towards internet. Surprising how much things have changed in the last decade. It's really been crazy how things have changed. But I advertised in a magazine that they put in hotel rooms and stuff, and I think I got maybe one couple walked in from seeing that in there, and it was expensive. It was like $500 or $600 to put one ad in, and when you're a small business, that's a lot of money. It's too much money. So I thought, well, there's got to be a better way for me to show people what we have in the store. So I started posting stuff on Facebook, pictures of stuff coming in, and I wanted to do a little video and show some stuff that had come in the shop. And that's why if you look back at the oldest videos that were posted, they're mainly about just me showing what stuff was in the store or what we had, and kind of talking about it a little bit. And those videos, I couldn't post directly to Facebook at that time. You had to actually, you could post a link from YouTube, because YouTube was kind of like the main thing where you posted videos. So Facebook said, well, if you want to post a video here, you got to post a link to your YouTube video. So I thought, okay, well, I guess I got to make a YouTube video for this. And so I did. And they were all typically, at that time, those sort of videos were meant to be 1 minute to 5 minutes long. That was the way it was. And if you did a long form video, people thought that you were really weird, or would never get watched. So you tried to make your videos like, you know, 1 minute to 5 minutes long. And so I look at some of those early adventures I went on and think about how that would have made like a great 30-minute, 40-minute episode, and I did it in 9 minutes or something. Like when we went through a fallen down barn, and I was pulling antiques out of it and stuff, and I was like, I remember that being a really good video. I wonder, and I look back and it's like 7 minutes long. I'm like, what was I thinking? But times changed. Now they've got longer format for YouTube, and then they've got YouTube Shorts, and you've got Facebook Reels. So there's different homes for different types of viewing. But in the last few years, I'd say the last 5 or 6 years, YouTube has kind of taken over for regular television for a lot of people. I don't know about you guys, maybe you can put in the comments there if you even have cable anymore, but we cut our cable before it was trendy to do so. We were like one of the first people to cut cable, like probably 15 years ago or something.
It was just an extra bill that made no sense.
Yeah, but I think when we cut the cable originally, it was like we still had like bunny ears or something. You get like your 3 local channels. But yeah, it's changed a lot. And the follow-up question that they had was, is YouTube a full-time job now? Yeah, I guess I have like 2 full-time jobs. One is I buy and sell things, hopefully buy low and sell high, and we live on the space in between. We live on the margins that we make. But really, YouTube is a full second job for me, and it keeps me really busy. So there's that constant struggle of trying to buy and sell things to keep busy for work in that sense, but also to create content for you guys. And so over November and December, we were putting out a video out every 2 days or so, there'd be a new video. And now our typical routine is every 3 or 4 days. Usually Wednesdays and Saturdays are kind of the days I like to post. And so I'll probably go back to that schedule again as we move along. But it gives me a little bit of time to try and find some interesting things to film. We did a house clear out in November, which I kind of am regretting the fact we didn't make an offer on that house and do a reno of it, because that would have been the perfect property for us to renovate.
But things line up when they're meant to line up.
They do, yeah. And I wouldn't mind doing a house renovation this year. That's kind of on the list of things. You know, Melissa and I were talking. And you know, we're kind of trying to think about the things that we really like to do and things that we enjoy. And for me, I really like being creative and finding ways to. I like to build, whether it's renovating a car and you're picking the colors of the interior or the paint, or it's a house and you get to pick the kitchen and stuff. And when we built this house that we're in, Melissa and I worked together as a team
Yeah.
to help pick the color of the cupboards, the way the kitchen was laid out, and all that stuff. So we worked together. But I haven't had that in a little while. I usually like to build or construct or do something at least once a year. So I'll probably look for something to do along those lines. I'll have to rewatch this video at the end of the year and see what exactly we found. And Eve says she's watched our video since we helped Adam out with the animation. So incidentally, I still talk to Adam to this day, in case you're ever wondering. I do talk to him all the time. Oh, Abel says, hey, I met you at Crystal Bridges. I was a security guard. Abel, yeah, super nice guy. I remember that. We talked about, I think you collect comics, is that right? Or no, video games. Abel collects video games, and we chatted about that a little bit. And yeah, I was just strolling around in Crystal Bridges Museum in Bentonville, Arkansas, which, by the way, what a pretty little town that is. Are you still a security guard there? I'm just curious to know if you're still doing that. Anyway, it's always nice when you meet a nice person that follows your channel, and I'm always happy to talk. And I was just doing I was out there visiting some family. I have a niece out that way, and I thought, well, why not go to Crystal Bridges and do that? And we went to the town, and I went to an estate sale and had some fun. So it was a good time. Anyway, that's one thing I do love, is getting out there in different parts of the world and different parts of the country and seeing new things. And yeah. Oh, everybody's saying you should come back to your channel. I'd watch anything she does.
Oh, you guys. I think it's going to end up being a mishmash of all the little clips. That's the one thing when you're not used to making the videos. You'll film, but then you forget the rest of the story. So I might do a year recap and pick the little bits from the year that you guys were meant to see, so it doesn't go to waste. And I wanted to bring you all along with me. So yeah, that might happen. That might be the first video of the year, a mishmash of, and hopefully I can get better as the days go on. Maybe I should take some tips. It was the follow through on everything now, not just editing.
I think hearing it from you guys is motivating to Melissa, because Melissa does have a YouTube channel as well, where she posts more like around the house and day in the life type videos, which I think are interesting too.
Yeah, it was, I filmed, I think yesterday or the day before, and just didn't get going. And now I took Christmas down already. It went from like, oh, maybe we should tidy this all up, to boom, Christmas is down.
Okay, I'm getting lots of questions here. I'm going to try and answer them. Tracy says she found us by us tracing our genetic family branches. Well, that was a while ago, and then I ended up finding a sister from that. Kim Riley says, do you ever regret going from a 9-to-5 or desk job or your TV job to working for yourself? How hard was it to go out on a limb for yourself? I'll answer that one for you. It was extremely stressful in the first, I would say the first year of owning our business and going out on my own, because you don't have a regular paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
You don't have dental or health benefits anymore. You lose a lot of stuff by being your own employee and employer.
The security of knowing that paycheck's coming was a big one.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of stress. In fact, that first year was really challenging. And that's the year I decided, I remember having that sort of moment when I was at the store. We'd spent all this money to open up a store. We had mortgage payments to make on the building, or business loan payments to make on it, and very few customers coming in at first. And I was sitting there and I was stressed, and I was thinking, well, maybe I can be an Uber driver. Well, my car was too old to use for Uber. And then I thought, well, maybe I can deliver food. I was thinking, what can I do? And then I thought, this is crazy. I know I have cool stuff in the store. I just need people to get in there. And that's why I started the YouTube channel. Since then, and then we started to get more customers in the store, and then that grew. And actually, when I left our store, it was probably at the peak of the store. Our store was not in decline. Our store was extremely successful. We had great sales. It was very busy. It was great. There was no issues. The challenges I had were that we had just come out of COVID. I'd been shut down for a year and a half. We got broken into a few times. And the luster of owning a business was starting to wear on me a bit. And it was causing me probably more stress than it was worth. And I decided that I could probably keep buying and selling stuff without a storefront and kind of lose a lot of that stress in my life. And I have to admit, I did lose a lot of stress by doing that. But do I regret not having a 9 to 5 job? I miss being a boss. I miss being a manager to people, probably more than anything. And not because I like being bossy. And Melissa might say, maybe it's a touch of that, but it's more that I really liked developing talent. I liked watching people grow in their careers. I liked guiding them into better jobs, and I really was. It was a lot of fun to see people develop and grow and help them on that journey. And I don't get to really do that at all. It's just at work. It's me, myself, and I for the most part. So if there's anything I miss about the 9 to 5 job, I was a manager once to several hundred employees. I was their manager, and now it's just me. And so it's a little weird.
But we still have staff that comes in to help us.
Well, I mean, more like contractors now.
Right,
Now it's more
yeah.
like managing with contractors, that when we're doing a construction or renovation of a car, that you're more like people that become your friends that are also contractors, that help you out. I mean, I have friends that will help me work on cars. I have friends that can help me work on houses. As a result, I find that there's just a ton of people that we know now that can really accomplish just about anything. And overall, I'd say, well, not overall, 90% better than having a regular job. And you realize, here's the biggest thing I learned. Landy Andy says he doesn't miss working at all. Landy Andy's been traveling the globe in his Land Rover. What I found that when I got out of being an employee and became self-employed, you realize that all the opportunities out there waiting for you, if you want to chase it, you can achieve pretty much anything. And when you're at work, you're accomplishing goals for a business or for somebody else, and you're not accomplishing goals for yourself. And so you take all that time that you spend accomplishing things for other people, and now you're investing that energy in accomplishing things for yourself. That our life and our lifestyle grew exponentially because the amount of effort I was putting into just making things better for my family or for my wife or for my kids or for our house, our property, all that just went towards those goals and those efforts. And you realize that when you're at work, working for somebody else, which most people do, that you're there doing work for them, and you get home and you're exhausted, and it's hard to think about the jobs you have to do around the house or all the little chores and stuff, and it gets harder to get in touch with it. So I can't imagine. The other day, I think I was out and I was getting set up for another auction sale, which we're doing another sort of comic book and graphic novel sale pretty soon with Kastner. I spent the entire day almost out of the house, like 6 or 7 hours. And I
wrote him to find out if he was still alive.
Yeah, she was like, "Are you still alive?
Is everything good?"
No, I'm not. This is the ghost of me writing back. Anyway, but after being out of the house or just tied up doing tasks for 6 or 7 hours straight, I was like, I don't think I can go back to having a real job, because I like to go and do something and then go and leave and go do something else and go and leave and do something else here. I like to get and move around. I guess if I was to do another job, if I went back to being a district manager or regional manager where you had to travel from store to store and go check on people, would probably be more in line with how I'd like to travel and develop people and stuff.
But you're still making things better for another company.
For a business, yeah, and they pay you to do that. And
sure.
But I think right now...
But then you're out. Like
then you're gone, yeah.
And it's a different environment every time you go. Oh, you can just see my hand.
That's okay. Melissa's a hand. By the way, somebody mentioned in a comment that Melissa always looks like she's shaky and afraid. She just has a thing. I can hold my hand steady, perfectly steady.
I always have my hands kind of tucked in because my hands shake. They have no clue why.
Well, you gotta show them.
Well, I don't like it, so I don't want to show them for a long time.
It's related to anxiety or something, or
no clue. I did the vitamins. I did all the. I do have an anxiety disorder though, so maybe.
But that's the thing. People really read into things in videos. I mean, when we do these live feeds, I talk a lot because I'm trying to help steer the conversation, or maybe there's something I want to help get us talking about. And I don't mean to not include Melissa, but we sat down literally and I said, let's do a live feed. So she probably has no idea what I even want to talk about.
It says, what do you want to do for this year? I'm thinking like, oh, it's like the pop quiz instantly, but with like thousands of people listening to your answer.
But yeah, somebody said, well, Melissa, we were doing jewelry unboxing, and they said, well, look at Melissa's hand is trembling and shaking. She's afraid that he's there. I'm like, her hand's just shaking.
Yeah, I totally look afraid. I'm just pasty white. This is how I normally am.
If only you knew our dynamic that Melissa is the pesty one. She'll move her arm and I'll flinch. and not
Are you saying you're scared?
a little, but it's not. She doesn't hit, but she'll poke, or sometimes you'll end up with a finger in your ear, or she'll just pest you.
Yeah.
And
I'm a grown adult, you guys.
yes, so we have a loving pesty relationship. But
Yeah.
if she
But
comes,
you chase me too and tickle and stuff. So.
yeah, but if she comes to me with that exact face, I know I'm in trouble.
This face, this is
Yeah.
just my face.
And plus, we've been together since we were kids, basically.
But you have to remember that comments like those are always reflective of something that they've gone through, or that they've experienced. So,
That's true, yeah.
And sometimes people are just jerks.
No,
Sorry if that was you, but.
But it's true though. If somebody instantly goes to a thought like that, they might be having some challenges with their relationship, or having some issues. So you
Well,
do
pull
try and have
on-
some empathy.
Well, for sure, pull on our past experiences. So things that I might have gone through, I might automatically see those things with somebody else and assume that must be the same because I went through that. And, you know, at the end of the day, they might just be protective. Like that
It could be,
person was saying like, hey, wait a minute, this looks like that. And I do appreciate that. But
Plus, we don't get to see you on your videos enough.
yeah, they can make sure I'm doing good. It's like the wellness check.
Not like walking in the snow and spelling out "help me" or something at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said, with Melissa working for being a teacher, are there some insurance benefits? No.
For mine?
She's
No.
considered a contractor at the preschool she's at.
Because
So.
I work for a not-for-profit. They pay me, but yeah, it's not through like Edmonton Public or anything like that.
It's not so bad. I mean, being in Canada, most of our medical and stuff is taken care of anyway.
Yeah.
Dental is not. So it just means every so often we just pay out of pocket to go to a dentist.
Dental now is covered for kids under 18, which is unfortunate because now
Only
we
one
have two, but at least, I mean, Abigail, at least it's something.
Jason's an adult now, by the way. I don't know how long some of you have been watching this channel, but if you go back to those early videos and see my kids, they're just little kids. And now I got two that are adults, and Abigail's 15 with a boyfriend. Like, what's going on? How did this happen? Can't we just keep them compressed in their little midgety little forms and
But it's nice
cuddly?
to see them like going through those life experiences, and watching them go through those stages of life is, I don't know, such a privilege to get to watch, to be a part of.
Somebody said that they had, her daughter saw a neurologist for their tremors and had MRIs, and she's had her whole life and they can't find anything wrong with her.
Yeah, I had to go for MRI as well. It wasn't. Is that the one where they shove you in the tube?
Yeah.
Which I'm claustrophobic, so that's not ideal.
No,
but I did it.
Yeah, they put you in the giant
I said,
cigar tube.
I seriously said to them, is it going to affect the image if I'm crying in there? They're like, nope. I'm like, shove me in the tube. Shove me in. Just ignore me. Get it done. So.
Oh, Melissa made me a chai tea. That's what I'm drinking. A chai. I
A
should
chai
say.
latte.
Un chai latte con, un chai con latte, un sucro. Grazie. Grazie mille. I have to learn, I'm learning Italian, or I'm trying to. Io sono Alexander. Io sono di Canada. And so forth. Anyway, Melissa's been working on her German, and I have been working on trying to learn Italian the last little while. So if we go traveling down the road to Europe, we can go all over the place. And
But most places speak English. But
no,
still.
I'm sure they'll try, and I will speak my broken Italian. It's like, how cute of you to try. Anyway.
But you speak, so whenever Alexander, he knows like some key phrases in other languages, but he says it with such confidence that they're like, ooh.
Yeah.
No,
That gets me in trouble sometimes.
yeah, true, because then they'll just start.
If I meet
speaking.
somebody from the Philippines, I'm like, Salamat, magandang umaga. And they're like, oh, you speak Tagalog. And then they just start having this whole dialogue with me. I'm like, ah.
That's a happy language. Like,
Oh, yeah. The Tagalog language in the Philippines is a very sing-songy, happy language.
I have a family in my class that speaks Tagalog, and they're wonderful. They're such happy humans. Like, yeah.
Kai says they're glad that you're learning German. They said it auf Deutsch. Meine Frau hat gut Deutsches gelernt.
Except for I'm using like an app, And it seems a little bit more like a game. Like I'm sure I could go years and still not speak it, but it does help you for vocabulary. I'll say that. Like there's certain words that you can catch in a conversation where you'll know what they're saying just based on knowing those certain words, but not necessarily putting proper sentences together. I am terrible at that.
Sarah says, don't forget to go to Sweden. Melissa would like to go.
Yeah.
Hey, Sarah, are you in Sweden? Does she look Swedish? Because she has Swedish ancestry. Could she blend in with the other Swedes out there? Oh, speaking of ancestry,
Oh my goodness.
Melissa is not impressed by this. It's because she's just jealous that I'm a royal now.
He's a royal something.
I'm a royal pain in the butt. So if you pay a little extra on 23andMe, you can see what your historical matches are. Oh, this is cool. Let me say this part first. I guess I'll mention the royalty part. So archaeologists in the last little while, sometimes they'll pull DNA from they'll find, in one case they found a skull in a castle in Lutsk, and they found out it was Prince such and such from the Rurik dynasty anyway. But I'm related somehow. And there's, obviously there's a lot of ancestors out there, a lot of people are related, but I'm related somehow to the Rurik dynasty, which ended with Fyodor the First of Russia. They were grand princes and czars of Russia, so the royal family there. And then their cousins were the Romanovs. And then the Romanovs, we all know what happened there. So somehow I'm related to that family tree. But here's where the mystery is. My aunt told me not that long ago, she said that my great-grandma didn't know her dad. I knew this. I had been told that he had died in the First World War, but the family lore is that he was some aristocrat or noble, and that my great-grandmother was born maybe out of wedlock, or there was some controversy, and the mom was sent to Canada. So we don't know that side of the family, and the Ukrainian-Russian side is incredibly hard to track down. But I have been told through generations, they have passed down this sort of lore that we are somehow related to Russian czars. And I always thought it was just nothing, right? And then you get the DNA test back and yeah, you're blood related to the, whoever the wise, one of the first czars or grand princes of Ukraine and Russia, and you go, oh, well, maybe there's something to it. But I'm curious to know now how that breaks down. But amongst that, there was other things. So there's that. But it also said there was it was the Bryce massacre in England, that there was Danish people, Vikings, that were living in England around, I think it was around 1200 or so. And the new king of England didn't want the competition. He was worried that the Vikings were going to try and take his throne. And so he sent people around to go and murder any of the Viking or Danish settlers. And two of the bodies that were buried in this one area that they dug up, that they assume were from this massacre, I was related to two of them. So an older guy and a younger guy. But Melissa did her search thing too, and she was also related to not the same person, but she was related to one of the other people there. So over 1,000 years ago, ancestors of ours were friends or knew each other in the same village, and we both have sort of Danish and a little bit of that ancestry. So it's just kind of curious, and it's kind of crazy to think that, that family knew each other then and unfortunately were massacred. And all these years later, some ancestors or relatives or descendants of theirs are now sitting side by side, safe in our house and married and okay. So I don't know, it just feels kind of nice to know that our family's reconnected after 1,000 years. And also grateful to know that we weren't related to the same Viking person.
Yeah, this isn't one of those we found out we were cousins stories.
Yeah, but there was 35 Viking bodies buried in this sort of mass grave, and they figured that there was the Danish king's sister was killed around that time too, and he was so mad about these massacres that he actually went and overthrew the throne. But he died a week later after taking over England from falling off his horse, they say.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah. So anyway, Melissa and I our bloodline is connected in a way that our families somehow knew each other or were friends during Viking times, and here we are again, all these years later. But yes, Melissa definitely has Swedish ancestry on her side. Swedish, German, all the European stuff.
Yeah.
And Sarah said, yeah, you definitely look Swedish. My Swedish bride. My wife, my Swedish wife. Okay, I'm not turning to Borat. What accent is that supposed to be? Yeah.
But I'm not mostly Swedish. I have like, I mean, it's pretty equal across the board because also Estonian and
You put the ish in Swedish.
Poland.
Yeah. But it's so neat. That I just love history. For me, I don't know. I did these DNA tests originally a long time ago because I'm interested in my ancestry. I'm interested in my family, my roots. And to me, it feels like you're kind of paying respect to the people that came before you, that they had to work so hard or be farmers or work in a field or all the things that they had to do to survive helped lead us to be where we are now. And so for me, it feels like a sign of respect to my ancestors to know kind of who they were and where I'm from and all that. And I don't know much about my mom's side, the Ukrainian Russian side. I can trace my dad's side, the English side, way back to like the 1700s or before, actually 1300s. I can follow the direct lineage back that far. But Russia's a little trickier. Ukraine's a little trickier. But now to be linked genetically to a royal from the Rurik dynasty, it opens a lot of, it makes me have more questions than I have answers, for sure. Matthew says, if somebody found out they're related to Alexander, they would find out he was the last person injured in the Civil War. You'll never let that up, will you, Matthew? Once I drop a Civil War pistol on my toe and break my toe. Yeah. I'm sure out there's somebody working at a sword shop who's just cut themselves on a Civil War sword as well. So I can't claim that as an injury. Does Melissa say bork, bork, bork when cooking? No, but she throws her spatula around behind her.
Alexander does it when he's cooking. Just when you're cooking, you definitely do the Swedish chef every once in a while.
Oh, somebody said Vikings ruled Northumberland as well. Well, I do have ancestry in Northumberland too. So how do you know you were related to someone way back then? Basically, like I said, the archaeologists ran the DNA of the remains of the people that were buried, and they ran the remains of the skull of this prince that was in this castle in Lutsk. And based on that, you can see that you have a common ancestor. Now, it doesn't mean I'm directly related from that guy down the line. He could have been like a cousin of the guy I'm directly related to, or you don't know, but it was a close enough relative that I have the same sort of genetic markers as them in some ways. So definitely related to some degree. But that makes me wonder if when my great grandma came over, it was right around the time of the Russian Revolution and they hightailed it out of there to Canada. And apparently there might have been some connection to czars or nobility. What if I'm secretly a Romanov? I know there's still Romanovs alive out there. Maybe I could get them to send me like a swab. Hey, you don't know me. I'm some guy in Canada. I'm just curious to know. Eh? I'll turn on the Canadian. Oh yeah, eh?
Oh my goodness.
Anyhow, it's interesting. But there's people that, find out they're related to Marie Antoinette or Napoleon or whatever. And yeah, it could be Napoleon's first cousin was your great grandpa or whoever. Like, it's just so weird how that all works. But there's so much mystery involving my mom's side of the family that we just really don't know much about it. Beyond my great grandma, who, by the way, was one of the sweetest ladies you'd ever meet. Yeah. She was 4 foot something and just nothing but love. Imagine this little old lady with glasses, her little Mrs. Claus Santa glasses, and a thing of cookies. She'd always say this, you want some cookies, cookie? Yeah. And when you'd leave, she'd say, oh, you're leaving, I'm grieving. Anyway, and she used to sing, she'd start singing songs, like probably old songs from the 20s or 30s, but she had a very soft, kind heart. And that's the one who may have had, some kind of ancestry we don't know about. So Manny says he's related to a Spanish king. Yeah, I'd love to go and do one of those genealogy shows with, oh gosh, who's the guy that I really like? They do the Finding Your Roots with Dr. Oh, what's his name? Somebody's going to correct me now. I almost said Dr. Stephen Brule. If you look that up, that's not the same guy. Have you ever seen that? Check it out with Dr. Stephen Brule. That is the most ridiculous. It's a John C. Reilly character he does where he's a guy with a public access show.
That's a crazy show.
Who should not have an access show. But I swear, anytime I watch that guy get afraid of puppets on his public access show, it makes me just
He
bowl
laughs
over laughing.
he laughs so hard.
Oh, is it Henry Louis Gates? Is that who it is? Somebody said Gates. Henry Louis
Oh, yeah,
Gates.
that sounds right.
He's just articulate. He's such a good host. Anyway, I really like that guy's show. Yeah, so I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll find out some more interesting history down the road. I know that there's been some people whose names pop up in Ukraine and Russia that I'm related to, and it says I'm like second cousins to that I don't know, but that's because our family only came over, 100 years ago. So, that's not that far. It's recent memory, recent history. Recently discovered that she's related to Lady Godiva. What is she famous for? Is that the one that rode the horse naked around? Oh. Do you do that in honor of your, no.
Well, it was a protest. It was not just for fun, because you think that would not feel good.
No, the horse probably be like, you kidding me? You got out of bath first? These are things that go through my head that probably shouldn't come out loud. But it's cool, don't you think, to learn more about your history and learn about your ancestry? Also founded Godiva chocolates. When she wasn't busy riding horses around. Yeah, riding naked on a horse would probably hurt. Yeah, especially if you don't have a saddle or something either. How do we get into this conversation? Why do I those things? But I did notice that recently the Ancestry stuff, they will change a little bit, like where the focus of your roots are. So it'll say, you're 3% this and 5% that. And then when you go and check in, it'll be like, no, you're more this than you are that. And I think it's based on the more people that do these tests, it concentrates more firmly the areas that your ancestry was from.
It makes more sense, because the more data they have, I thought that too. I always am the same groups, but different percentages.
Marlene Kutcher says she bought her son 23andMe and he has genetic strands connected to Neanderthals. Well, so do we. In fact, you're looking at a Neanderthal right here. It was just so good. I have to tell this story because I did mine first and I opened my results first and we did it around the same time.
That was 23andMe that does
I know, but I'm going to, I got to do this because Melissa's super happy about this. I opened my results first and it says, congratulations, it's like you are 73% more Neanderthal DNA than the average person or whatever.
Which still ends up being less
it's
than
a fraction
0.2%
anyway.
Or something.
But anyway, so Melissa's like, oh, he's dragging his knuckles on the ground, Mr. Caveman, Mr. Monkey Man, and then she opened up hers as she's like laughing, and hers is like, bing, you have 95% more DNA than an average person that comes in
Neanderthal. Like 0.2
But
something.
still, after all of her teasing me, oh, don't think that she's so innocent, folks. She is a class A pest.
Knuckle dragger.
That's right. So sometimes I'll just tease her and go, well, don't blame you. I mean, one of us is much more Neanderthal than the other one.
Do you think he'd be more leery of saying stuff like that?
No, she will club me. It's true. If I pest her, if I poke and pinch or pest her at all, she instantly looks for something to club me with.
Wow.
That's your Neanderthal DNA coming out. I'm not safe here. Anyway.
I can't even imagine the comments for later. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. But somehow we work things out.
Yep.
Yeah, and thankfully we do. Mr. and Mrs. Neanderthal. Yeah, that's right. Way more Neanderthal than your average mama bear. That's for sure.
Wasn't like 95%.
Oh, yeah, you were up there.
No,
you know what?
Said 75.
I'm going to screenshot it. I'll put it in the comments.
Oh.
Your wife is practically the only living Neanderthal. We're sending scientists to your house right now. We didn't know they still existed. I'm going to be in trouble after this. She's plotting my revenge right now, as Neanderthals do.
Oh.
They'll come into my cave. It's nice in here. And then meanwhile, funk. I know I've gone too far. I know I've gone too far. But I would like, speaking about the ancestry, I think at some point this year, I wouldn't mind going to England to visit where I'm from. Northumberland and that area, Newcastle. The problem is it looks like the weather's just miserable all year long. They have like 1 week where it's not drizzly.
But that's what people are going to think about, like where we live.
No,
like, it's snow.
No, I talked to a lady from that area. She's like, yeah, it's pretty cold and rainy all the time there. maybe you guys can correct me. So my family's from like the Wooler, Newcastle upon Tyne kind of area. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll go in summer and it'll be nice or winter. And they're like, no, then it gets like 15 degrees Celsius for like a week. And otherwise it's rainy and
We'll
miserable.
go during that week.
Why did my ancestors live there for almost 1,000 years? Why? I guess Canada was probably like an upgrade. If they were like, ooh, it's sunny.
That's the thing. Like we do get crazy. Like, we have the next couple of days are cold here. They're actually, it's like getting down to I think minus 35 at night tonight with the wind chill.
Celsius.
With the
Well,
chill.
it's close to Fahrenheit at that point too.
But we've had like pretty close to just freezing temperatures, which is pretty warm. But now it's like freezing.
But it's then.
But then we have like the blue sky. You can't tell on camera though, but it's blue sky
nice
and
outside.
sunny and.
Yeah.
But it tricks you because it's really cold.
Oh, Jenny says hello from Sweden.
Oh, hello, Jenny.
Hello, our Swedish friends. But our winters have been getting more mild.
Dave said
honestly.
summers are good June, July.
Yeah, we just are really lucky that we have good weather all the way around.
Oh, somebody in the beginning had said, out of all of your house clearouts and everything, what was the biggest surprise? And
Oh, right.
if you wanted to share, what was your most valuable item that you found during a clearout?
Oh, well, that's definitely the musician's house by far. By the way, Melissa's channel is it MR Archbold?
It's just Melissa,
Melissa
Archbold. I
Archbold.
never did like a proper name. I just was like,
Somebody said,
Play
Catherine
around.
said, how do I find Melissa's video? Maybe you want to
can-
put it in the
oh,
chat.
here.
Melissa will put it in the chat.
well, you can just click on my name and it'll take you, like my little circle. That's how little the kids were even in that circle.
So by far the biggest surprise we ever had in a house, and incidentally, that last house clear out, I think I forgot to mention it, that we did not find their rings, and had we would have happily given them back, but they figured they were lost years ago. The biggest discovery or find was when we did the Musician's House series. If you haven't watched that series, go back and watch that. We were not expecting to find anything in the house, and we found so much good stuff that we didn't even show half it on camera because we were worried about our safety, to be honest.
Yeah.
We were finding bags of diamond rings and gold and silver bars and gold coins, and every day that I went to that house, we found something that would have been an absolute amazing find for an entire year. Every day I was
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
house, found something amazing.
It
And-
was almost unbelievable. Like
yeah.
it was overwhelming. Like we didn't even like it almost feels like shell shock after a while. Like
Yeah, it was definitely it was life changing. It
Yeah.
was life changing in all the good ways, and also life changing for the fellow that had inherited the stuff, because we found those safe deposit box keys, and he found even more stuff than what we had. So
Yeah.
we had to really work for ours. He just had to go to the bank and they could dump the buckets into a big Santa bag, I guess, or whatever they do.
Santa bag comes out of the back. Here you go.
Over the shoulder.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, that was nuts because I'd been told that she was had no money, that she was very poor, and I wasn't going to find anything, and it was all garbage. That's what I was told when I made the offer on the house.
Well, even when we first went through the house, we were only finding like normal household stuff. Like
Yeah, or when we did find jewelry, and Melissa thought, well, this might be real. We actually put it in the bin and gave it to them and said, you guys might want to check this out. And when we ended up buying the place, they're like, well, you're not going to find anything, so you may as well take this costume jewelry, which ended up not being costume
yeah,
jewelry.
I completely thought it was costume.
But at
jewelry.
first, we'd actually found a few things and put it in a big bin, like a big clear Rubbermaid kind of bin, and said, you might want to get this stuff checked. And they were like, nah, it's probably nothing. And they gave it back to us. So that house was just, I'll be forever grateful that we ended up finding that property, and that I had the wherewithal to know how to sell all that stuff too at that time, to do the auction sale, to clear it all out. It just worked out really, really well.
that happened exactly at the right time that we needed it to happen too. It's just like
Our store was shut down for COVID at the time. We had very little revenue coming in from the business, no revenue.
bills piling up, of course. That
And
never
so
stops.
that was excellent timing all the way around. It was, I mean, I don't know if that'll ever happen again. It only needs to happen once in your life if you
Yeah.
know what to do with it.
And we knew the person. You know, it felt like, even though I know she's gone and everything, it felt like she gave us this insane gift. Like,
Did you ever meet her?
Yeah, of course. I met her twice.
Oh, okay.
No, 3 times. I can't remember where we were.
We kept running into her when we were out at West Mountain Mall. She'd
Oh, yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
It's because she would go grade papers at the Starbucks at the Safeway there. And so if I was usually I'd go to the post office there, and I'd run into her and just say hi.
But
This
she
is
was
before we bought the
actually-
property.
Super nice.
Yeah,
Like,
she's a
she
really
was,
nice lady.
Somebody I wish that I'd actually sat down and had gotten to know better.
Very
Like,
interesting lady.
yeah, like she had a very interesting story. But even just talking to her, just in meeting, she was fascinating.
Yeah, and somebody had thought that she left the stuff to us in her will. That's not the case.
No.
We only knew her sort of. I bought a car off of her. I bought a Cadillac from her, and I only knew her as this lady I bought a Cadillac from. And I fixed it up, and I took her for a ride, and I'd run into her, and I'd say hi to her. And then after she passed away, the fellow that introduced us said, "Well, if you heard she passed away," and then that's how I got connected with him. And when he inherited the house, he just didn't really want to deal with the mess.
It was
So-
a big job.
It
Like,
was,
a
and actually,
big
we
job.
we initially said no. We said I don't think this, because it looked like just piles of garbage, bean cans and mouse poop everywhere and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was not a lighthearted adventure, and it was mostly clothes, and so I wasn't really super keen on it at first. And luckily for us, we ended up going back and made an offer. Somebody else made an offer as well, and they accepted our bid, and we ended up with the property. So it worked out well. But yeah, that was a crazy adventure. I don't know if that'll ever happen again. But I'm really glad that I'm not a gambler, that I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke or do drugs or things like that. So when you have a bit of a windfall, you just try and make smart investments with your money and don't blow it all. Not that I'm sure there's gamblers that also do those things.
Yeah.
But I always think if you're, you could have taken those winnings to a casino and lost it all in one night. So anyway, it was really, really good.
I wonder how many rings were in those clothes pockets.
Yeah, I try not to think about that too much, because our arrangement with the fellow that bought the clothes was supposed to be that if he found any jewelry or things that weren't clothing, it was supposed to be returned to us, and nothing got returned, and they ended up selling a bunch of jewelry that they'd found in the house on their website. So it was a little annoying.
But we were given such, like, it's not like we hurt from.
No.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where had we had a good relationship with this fellow, every time I came across vintage clothes or something,
Yeah.
he could have been a good resource for us to partner with, and it could have been a good years-long relationship, not just that one
Or
event.
forever long
where-
relationship.
Yeah, where they decided to take some things that weren't necessarily theirs. It was easy to attest because on the website he said it came out of the house and that. So
Yeah.
anyway, not really worth getting a lawyer involved or anything like that, but it was certainly disappointing to say the least.
But we did have a good experience with the other clothing.
Oh yeah, Angela at Swish was really
Yeah,
good.
she's amazing.
Yeah, and she has a
They're-
nice shop, and
They have I think she does mostly on Instagram, but
yeah, they have great people working at that store, and she mainly focuses on like vintage couture. So when we ended up getting a bunch of reject stuff that was left behind in the house from the fellow that bought the clothes that didn't want it, even in those bags, after I'd washed them, there was a bunch of really good clothes in there, like a bunch of good stuff. So yeah, that's sort of one regret I had at that place, is that I rushed to get the clothes out, but it got our investment back. So that was important, but we did. Certainly from that point on, it changed. If you wonder why I don't have a lot of people come into these house clear outs at the beginning, it's because of that experience where I was too trusting. I invited pretty much everybody to come in and help me out, and some of them weren't trustworthy, and so it kind of made me feel a little bit less at ease with doing it. So now I'll have Melissa and I'll have the kids help me, and then later, much later, we'll have other people come and join us.
Yeah.
But really, for the first week of exploration, I kind of just have to keep it to myself and do our own things, because I don't know. Just that was not a great experience anyway.
is that a new shirt?
Me or you?
Oh, mine's not.
Mine's new, but I've been wearing plaid for a long time. Yours is kind of like plaid on an angle.
This one has like it already looks pilled, even though I've only had it for like a month. It's super soft. It's too warm though. If you know, usually I have sleeveless, so there's a reason. It's too warm.
Yeah, but this year I think I'm just gonna be open to what adventures come my way. I did have somebody contact me about a possible house clear out that might happen in spring, so I'm gonna try and make myself available for that if it comes around. And apparently it is a hoarding situation, so it's gonna be quite full. But there is a person living in the house right now, and I think they're managing that. So I don't like to get involved with any of that stuff. I just like to step in when people are ready to move on with the things in the property, and they tell me what they want done, and I try and get it done. I think the last house we cleared out, they said basically they just really needed to get the house sold. They didn't want to keep paying expenses on it. So the goal was to get that house cleared out. And we didn't find that much for amazing stuff, but the house ended up cleaning up nice.
Yeah,
And
that house was nice.
and we did exactly what we said we were going to do. We got the house cleaned up, and it sold, I think, within 2 or 3 days of it being listed. So I felt like we did a good job for them on that property. What's happening with the TV series? The TV series, they did it without me. It's on HGTV or something. It's called like Hoarder House Flipper or something like that. That was supposed to be our show. Anyway, I'm kind of glad that we're not doing it. What happens is you sign into a holding agreement with the TV company. You walk through, basically they just sucked all of my information out of my brain on how to do a show like this. And then when our holding agreement came up, they went off and did it elsewhere without me. So that stinks a little bit, but that's okay because I feel like I dodged a bullet, honestly.
Yes.
I don't think I'd want to have my whole life just dealing with those sorts of properties. They're very bad for my health. It always takes me months. Cleaning out a house like that for a month will take me about 3 months to recover from. And I don't know. I don't want to have that be my life. I don't want that to be all that I do.
It's a lot. Like it's even when by the time I even go in to help, you've already got a system in place and
it's backbreaking labor for like a good solid month. And that's even before you get to the spot where you're cleaning or doing anything. I think this year, if not a house clear out, I would love to do some kind of property. I'd love to do a house renovation or something, you know, where you get to pick colors and pick cabinets and pick tiles and
Bring it back to life.
Bring a property back to life.
Yeah.
That's not a cheap endeavor, though.
That's true. It always sounds really good it always turns out fine, I'm sure, at the end.
Yeah, but you know, we have all these places that come our way with these house clearouts, and they always want the house gone, and they want it gone cheap. And we've never really only once we made a move on a house, Mary Borstrom's place, the Potter's house, where they wanted the house gone with the contents, and we ended up buying it. So if we could do a house clear out and a renovation at some point.
But close to us.
Closer, yeah. That house was 3 hours away.
Like every time that, if you guys saw the Potters series, anytime that Alexander, you'd see him filming, like he would go out there for maybe the weekend and then come back and then drive back out. So when you'd see an episode, it might be 2 days worth for the episode, but then you would be back and then drive back out.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit of work for sure.
that's 6 hours of driving there and back.
It's a lot of driving there and back, and a lot of gas and hotels. And then anytime we went out, I would pay wages for Hans and Patrick and Josh and whoever came out. I paid their wages, but I also would pay for a hotel room and for meals for them too.
Yeah.
So it got pretty expensive doing that, but we had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You know, doing karaoke, and we'd go get pizza and freeze our butts off, and so it was a lot of fun.
It was in the minus 40s for sure when you guys were out then. Like when my dad went to go and help, for sure you guys were freezing. It was cold.
Yeah, so if anybody's watching and they're in the Edmonton area and knows of maybe a really rough around the edges house that might be coming up for sale, maybe give us an email at curiosityedmonton@gmail.com. Do you want to put it in the...
Matthew's on.
Oh, Matthew's on it. Thank you. Just send us an email if you know of any properties might be coming along, or collections that are for sale, or people that might have interesting collections and they just want to show it off. I like doing those videos once in a while too. Yeah, Cindy says the infamous missing van keys. Yeah, that was one of the coldest days ever. I was so tired. I wanted to get home. I had a rental van and then I couldn't find the keys. And I had to sit there in minus 40 in an unheated house. But on that day, I ended up finding some of the most amazing finds out of the attic. Some really cool masks and sculptures and artwork that Mary had done. So had I not gotten stuck in the house, maybe I wouldn't have found that stuff. But I remember the feeling of desperately wanting to be home, and I was cold, and there wasn't a working bathroom, and I'd already checked out of the hotel, and I had to wait for a tow truck to come to tow me all back into town. Incidentally, we found the van keys the next summer when the snow melted and they were on the sidewalk.
Thank you, Matthew.
But guys, look forward to who knows what this year. I guess that
I know.
That's the thing with our channel, is that it could be clearing a collection, it could be a storage unit, it could be a house renovation, it could be a car restoration, it could be anything.
We
Could
never
be
know
travel
until we
blogs.
get that call. We could get a call right after this even, and then sometimes it takes a hot minute.
Yeah. So lots more adventures to come, guys. And thank you so much for being with us. For many of you guys have been with us almost since the beginning. So for being with us for years and watching our family grow. And yeah, I guess as I'm sitting here today, no clue what's going to happen this year. And that's kind of exciting. And that's
Yeah.
maybe one thing that I like most about not having a 9-to-5 job is that my future is what I make it. And so for all of you out there, I hope you have a wonderful 2025 and that you guys stay engaged on the channel, and you can send us emails or you can comment for sure on our channel. We'll be happy to see you guys on there. I do read comments on the videos. I don't have a chance to respond to them all the time, but guys, thank you so much for the engagement. And surely some interesting stuff's going to happen this year. I guess we'll have to see. But guys, have a wonderful day and a wonderful 2025, and we'll see you all soon. Alrighty, guys. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.